Have you ever gone to the store with a carefully crafted shopping list, only to find yourself walking out with a cart full of everything except what you came for? And yet, it's not like you meant to do that, right? You didn't wake up that morning thinking, today is the day I will betray my own plans and financial well-being. No, you had good intentions, you had structure, you had optimism, you had a list, and not just any list, a serious list. If you've got ADHD, this scenario probably feels painfully familiar. You make a plan, you take a deep breath, you hype yourself up a little. Armed with your list like it's a sacred artifact, you walk into the store ready to tackle the mission. This is going to be quick, focused, efficient. You're not wandering today, you're executing. But then, something happens. Somewhere between the automatic doors opening and the first aisle, your brain quietly flips the script. Suddenly, you're holding items you never intended to buy. You're placing things into your cart that were never part of the plan, weren't on the list, and honestly, weren't even in your awareness 5 minutes ago. And before you realize what's happening, you're walking out of the store with things you didn't need, didn't want, and definitely didn't write down. And the most confusing part is this: it didn't feel intentional. So why does this keep happening? Why does a shopping list, something that feels so logical and so necessary, seem completely powerless against your ADHD brain? What is actually going on inside your head while this is happening? Well, buckle up. Because today we're diving into why people with ADHD need a shopping list and still come back with other stuff anyway. Before we get into it, take a second to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel, and if this content resonates with you, there's a lot more coming. And while you're at it, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. And maybe one thing you absolutely did not intend to buy the last time you went shopping. I already know the comments are going to be both comforting and unhinged. Now, people with ADHD know the drill. You make a list, not a vague list, not a I'll remember most of it list, an earnest list, a real list, a list created during a rare and beautiful moment when your executive function decided to show up and cooperate. You didn't rush it, you wrote it carefully, you double-checked it. You might have even grouped items by category: produce, dairy, pantry, like a person who definitely has their life together and is absolutely thriving. You look at the list with a quiet sense of pride. You fold it neatly, or you save it on your phone and promise yourself you'll actually check it this time. You take a deep breath. You head to the store thinking, this time I've cracked the code. And the important thing here is this: you mean it. You genuinely mean it. You are not planning to spiral. You are not secretly hoping to impulse buy 17 snacks and a candle that smells like emotional support forest. You're not trying to forget milk again. You're simply trying to complete one of the most basic adult tasks known to humanity. But the moment the automatic doors slide open, the environment itself starts working against you. The lights are brighter than they need to be, not blinding, just aggressively present. The music is louder than expected and somehow both distracting and impossible to ignore. Somewhere nearby, a shopping cart wheel squeaks in a way that feels illegal. People stop abruptly in aisles like they've been frozen by a spell. Someone is intensely comparing nutrition labels directly in front of the exact item you need, and you don't know how long they've been there or how long they plan to stay. And just like that, your brain is no longer focused on the list, not because you don't care about the list, but because your brain is now doing something else entirely. Grocery stores are not neutral environments. They are highly engineered spaces designed to capture attention, extend time spent inside, and encourage impulse decisions. For most people, this is mildly annoying. For an ADHD brain, it's a full-scale sensory assault. ADHD brains struggle with sensory filtering. Instead of automatically tuning out irrelevant information, they take everything in. Every sound, every color, every movement, every sudden change in lighting or layout, the hum of refrigerators, the flicker of fluorescent lights, the smell of baked goods drifting in from somewhere you didn't plan to go, the sudden announcement over the intercom that you weren't prepared for, the visual overload of thousands of products all competing for your attention at the same time. Your brain isn't ignoring these things, it's processing them, which means that by the time you've walked 10 steps into the store, your mental bandwidth is already partially used up. You haven't even started shopping yet, and your brain is already multitasking at full capacity. This matters because shopping with a list requires sustained attention, working memory, and prioritization. 3 things ADHD brains struggle with the most, especially under sensory stress. Here's the part that explains almost everything. ADHD brains are not motivated by importance. They are motivated by interest, novelty, urgency, and emotional stimulation. Your shopping list is important, but it's predictable, static, boring. The store, on the other hand, is alive. Every aisle offers something new, a redesigned package, a limited time flavor, a product you didn't know existed 5 seconds ago, but now feels oddly essential. A bright red sale sign, screaming for your attention like it knows you personally. Your brain doesn't register these things as distractions. It registers them as opportunities. Novelty triggers dopamine. Dopamine helps ADHD brains regulate attention, motivation, and engagement. When dopamine levels rise, your brain briefly feels focused, alive, and capable. So when you see something new or unexpected, your brain lights up, not because you're impulsive or reckless, but because it's chemically rewarding. That's why you didn't plan to buy the new granola flavor, but somehow it's already in your cart, and your brain immediately supplies justification. It's healthy. I'll definitely eat this. It was basically calling to me. Once this process starts, it compounds. Each novel item gives you a small dopamine hit. Each hit makes your brain feel more regulated. Each regulated moment makes the behavior feel reasonable, responsible even. You're not thinking, I am abandoning my list. You're thinking, oh, this is interesting. Oh, this could be useful. Oh, this is on sale. Oh, I might need this someday. Meanwhile, the list hasn't vanished. It's just slipped out of working memory. ADHD working memory is fragile. Once attention shifts, it doesn't automatically snap back. You have to consciously retrieve the task again, and that retrieval takes energy you're already using just to stay regulated in the store. You didn't forget the list because you're careless. You didn't ignore it because you don't care. You didn't abandon it because you're irresponsible. You lost access to it. And then comes the other extreme. Because ADHD shopping isn't just impulsive, it's also paralyzing. You make it to the dairy section. Your list says milk, simple, straightforward. You've bought milk 1,000 times before, and suddenly, your brain blanks. Almond or oat? The brand you usually buy looks unfamiliar. Was there a reason you stopped buying this one? Did you need whole milk or low fat? Wait, do you even like oat milk? Your brain reaches for the answer and comes back empty. Not confused, empty. This is an ADHD working memory crash. Under pressure, with too many options and too much stimulation, your brain temporarily loses access to stored information. The harder you try to force it, the worse it gets. Now there's panic layered on top of overload. You're standing in front of milk, feeling like you're failing a test you didn't study for, even though you literally wrote the answer down earlier. By this point, your brain is exhausted. It has been making micro decisions nonstop, filtering stimuli, navigating people, managing impulses, reorienting attention, fighting distraction, monitoring your emotions, trying to appear normal. Decision fatigue sets in. For ADHD brains, this doesn't just lead to bad decisions. Sometimes it leads to no decisions at all. You freeze. You stare at shelves longer than makes sense. You feel rushed. You feel exposed. You feel like everyone else knows exactly what they're doing except you. Your nervous system interprets this overload as threat. And when the brain perceives threat, it chooses fight, flight, or freeze. In this moment, freeze wins. This is the ADHD paradox playing out in real life. On one end, you can move too fast, grabbing everything in sight. On the other end, you can't move at all, unable to choose something simple. Both feel like failure. Both are exhausting. And both come from the same place, an overwhelmed executive function system. By the time you check out, your brain is running on fumes. You get home, you unpack the bags, and that's when it hits. You forgot something important. You bought things you didn't need. You feel frustrated, embarrassed, maybe even ashamed. Your brain replays the entire trip, trying to understand what went wrong, not to punish you, but to protect you from it happening again. And without understanding ADHD, it's easy to turn that replay into self-blame. But here's the truth. The list isn't useless. It's just not powerful enough to overpower sensory overload, dopamine-driven attention, working memory gaps, decision fatigue, and an environment designed to exploit attention all at once. ADHD brains aren't failing the list. They're navigating a system that wasn't built for them. Shopping with ADHD isn't a moral failure. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of effort. It's a brain doing its best in a world that demands constant self-regulation. And despite all of that, you still showed up. You still tried. You still made the list. And that counts for more than you think. And if you have the energy, scroll down and share your own shopping list story in the comments. The thing you absolutely meant to buy but didn't. The thing you definitely did not mean to buy but somehow felt necessary in the moment. Not to shame yourself and not to do better next time, but to be seen. Because reading those stories is often the moment people realize, oh, it's not just me. ADHD can make everyday tasks feel oddly heavy, strangely complicated, and way more emotional than anyone talks about. It can make you question yourself over things that seem simple to everyone else. But the truth is, none of this means you're broken. It means your brain works differently in a world that rarely slows down enough to accommodate that difference. You're not failing at life because grocery shopping is hard. You're navigating it with a nervous system that's constantly balancing stimulation and overload, interest and exhaustion. And the fact that you keep trying, keep making lists, keep showing up, keep wanting to understand yourself better, matters more than you probably give yourself credit for. So be gentle with yourself the next time you walk out of the store missing something important and holding something unnecessary. That moment doesn't define you. It's just one small snapshot of a brain doing its best in a very loud world. If this felt painfully familiar, if you were nodding along, laughing uncomfortably, or feeling a little too seen, take that as a sign. You're in the right place. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Not because you're supposed to, not because the algorithm demands it, but because this space is about understanding your brain instead of fighting it. And there's a lot more coming. Stories, breakdowns, moments like this that are built on empathy, humor, and zero judgment. You're not alone in this. You never were.